Hi people, and it's a while since I've done a video. We've been in the middle of changing over things, but this video today is about a very harrowing, corrupt story that Kris Brooks covered, and I'll put links into it, about Donald, who's a 60s plus man, and he's been held in Peterhead. I'm going to give you a wee bit of background about this poor guy, and I'll elaborate on what I want to speak about. This mic isn't very good because I can't find my decent mic, but we'll just see how we get on. Donald is in his 60s and is a Christian with a strong sense of right and wrong. Now, the reason I'm not giving his surname, because we know that's legal fiction, and he's never gave joinder about that, and he's been unlawfully incarcerated for the best part of since the 19th of January 2023. He's university educated, polite and humble, with no criminal background. Prior to the stitch-up, he hadn't even had a parking ticket. To give you a flavour of the corruption involved, he has never taken any illegal drugs, doesn't drink nor smoke, basically a clean, loving, elderly man whose only crime was to recognise and stand up to the fraud and corruption of the UK judiciary. Any newspaper articles were laced with defamation to justify the actings of Sheriff's corrupt actions. We know this. We know the media has gotten paid for. Levy and McRae are the solicitors who was linked to Kenny McCaskill, the last Justice Minister a few years ago. So, they're bought and paid for people, and didn't he dismiss Freemasonry and all this? And Eastern Star. It's very important, so let's move on. Put out by bought and paid for complicit Freemasons with no evidence to substantiate their smear campaign. Donald is held on fraudulent blank pieces of court-issued paperwork which we have seen and witnessed. We have listened to Donald and heard reports and evidence that points to what is clearly an innocent man having been held within the Scottish Prison Service estate since the 19th of the 1st, 2023, 25 months to date, and is currently in HMP Peterhead Grampian, one of the most northerly and notorious prisons in Scotland. I'm sure Jimmy Boyle was in there. An attempt to hide Donald away and silence him. Due to the fact that we've been unable, in addition, there is evidence and reports of physical and mental abuse, and you can go onto our page to verify that, our old page, which was Police Scotland Angels, and I'll link all these videos. That's the poor man, and the second video being tortured. You'll hear it, tortured in this prison, and we've covered his story. There, it's just despicable that this is going on within the jurisdiction of Scotland, but it goes on day in, day out, let's get back to the narrative. Donald was put on remand without any due course of law, justification or court hearings and no previous convictions. He has been put through a kangaroo trial, tortured, starved, beaten by guards, mental, physical and psychological abuse. The Scottish courts in this case are full of Freemasonry, corruption, and the courts in the Scottish Prison Service are completely and utterly co-joined and complicit. Donald is effectively a political prisoner who has not contracted with the courts to be the legal entity, which is what they need, and because he did not submit to the court, because the courts operating fraudulently, and what they suggested he did was complete a lie, also known as a stitch-up, with no due course of law. For these reasons, the corrupt Freemasonry judiciary are using the Scottish Prison Service as a blackmail torture device to make Donald submit to the court and to break his spirit. We are immensely concerned for his health and well-being, as this is a threat to life situation. As this situation is clearly in the public's interest, public awareness is needed, and as exposure is key here. Now, we have got, we've set up another new website, which is ARMS. We're in the process of doing that because we know a lot of the times that Google will pull these things down on YouTube. So it's good to have this backup website, because ARM means, to address authentic, regulation, in Scotland, but, we're not going to get much of that. So we are watch team. We've got really good data and good videos coming up, but this is getting back to Donald. Now, Donald was sentenced at Dunfermline Sheriff Court, and he was sentenced by Susan Duff. You know, let's see if we can find Susan Duff here. So that's the Scottish courts. He was in Dunfermline Sheriff Court. That's where he was sentenced, you know. And this is Susan Duff, a sheriff. And you can go and read about these people's backgrounds on the judicial pages and things. I'll put links and key players and all this. So she's married to Alistair Duff. Now, Alistair Duff was done for paedophilia, but they reduced it and diluted the language in the words and says it was porn. Porn is between two consenting adults, you know, and he was a trainer for judicial justices of the peace. And this is his picture there when he was in office, you know. And this is him going to court. Let's see if we can find him. He turned up at court. Let's see, I covered a video about this. Let's see, that's him there. The eyes, the mask, you know. Now just look at the wording. I was making vile sexual and racist remarks about school uniform porn. That's not porn. Anything related to school and children, it's paedophilia. You know, you wouldn't phone somebody up and discuss porn. Not that I've had any interactions with porn, but I believe it's for consensual adults. So he was key, and his wife still sits. I mean, these people are legends in their own mind and self-will, and they will not back down. Imagine living with a paedophile who's got 4 children and grandchildren. Our organisation wrote to Edinburgh Social Work in Fife and says we wanted a risk assessment done on him being about his grandchildren. Do you think we heard anything back? No. So, this is what it says. Now, just you define for yourself. I've got a video up. I'll link the other video up here. The shamed lawman was heard saying, "Do you like to see a wee one bend over and struggle in school shoes, wearing white socks and cotton pants, with pale skin and dark skin?" This is deeply, deeply disturbing. Deeply disturbing. And he probably adjudicated over children's cases. And his wife, you know, she's still sitting on the bench. She's still presiding in Dunfermline. You know, there she's there. You know, who would, we are funding this. You have to remember that we're funding this. You know, we're funding people's torture. We're funding people's suffering. These people are mentally ill. You know, they work in tandem with other agencies. Do not dismiss the lovely words, engagement, you know, a partnership. It's all subjective to make it we're working for you, when it's the actual adverse effect, you know, the adverse opposite of what they're actually meaning. You know, it's the mystery school of words. Now, we've got further videos coming up. Our watch team have been very, very busy for our new site about Police Scotland. Remember, they were all complicit in this. Every one of them was complicit. You know, they just can't think out with, you know, they're just 19-year-olds, just, you know, the level of training is just disgusting, you know, and there's no accident with it, you know. So, you know, they actually were involved in this man's incarceration. The guards and, you know, the judiciary. I've got a whole list. I'm going to put it up. Who's some of the key players. KIRKCALDY Sheriff Court, Neil Rawlings, the clerk. Didn't dismiss the clerk's role. Remember, it's there in plain sight. What business do we have today? What business? It's a business model they're operating. You know, nothing to do with justice. I know Neil Rawlings, not personally. He's a most evil man, and I do believe his Facebook page. Look, you can get into these people's Facebook page and that. He had a red car, and his registration was devil. It's there in plain sight. What these people are worshipping and what they're about. You know? James H. Williamson, Sheriff. He's the senior sheriff up there now. I've had dealings with him in the past. Elizabeth McFarlane's retired. Where is she now? Dunfermline Sheriff Court, Gail Smith the clerk. Susan N. Duff. She was the sentencing sheriff. You know? Charlie MACNAIR, oh, he's MCSHERRY, we've got data on MCSHERRY, you know, that we're going to expose in another case. You know, I think he's been drinking too much sherry. You know, HM Perth prison, HM, you know, Kilmarnock, the Governor Craig Thompson in Kilmarnock, the Governor Andrew Hodge, you know, Greenock, Morag Stirling. We'll put all these names up. Go and do your research about these people who's torturing this man. Go and do it. You know, the gold justifies the means. You know. Now, in future videos, we're going to cover about the signature and that these people now, they've got Ys, you know, and they're not getting any signatures on any documents because they're not even giving names because they're saying we're scared in case we go on social media. They deserve to be on social media, but they're a public servant. Remember that, you know. And they've got a duty. We're paying them for our own enslavement and suffering to give their names and who's accountable for transparency, you know. So, I have a book and I came across it last year and it's obviously somebody who had very, very, you know, warranted contempt for the judiciary. And this book is actually, I'm going to show you an image yet. Here is let's bring it up if we can. The Faculty of Advocates Directory 2001. And that actual symbol that's on that, and it's very important about symbols, you know, and let's go look at that symbol, you know, because that's all part of the Freemasonry, you know. That's all part of it there. The sword, the scales, the sword through it, the lion, you know. Just go and look that up, you know. I'll put a link to it, you know. Anyway, getting back to this directory now. I have, and I've tried to disguise this, every one of them who thinks they're smart, and I know that's smart. The 1999 Data Protection Act was in place when this book was out, you know. And here we've got a book with all their names, all their addresses, their personal telephone numbers, their fax numbers, blah blah blah, you know, because this was 24 years ago when they were climbing the ladder, when the goal justifies the means, you know. That's Dorothy being there, you know. And that's how bright these people are. And they're going on now. No, we can't have. They consented. That's a public domain book. You'll never get your hands on this book now, you know. So I have a directory, you know. They have your name, they have your address, they take away your liberty, you know. And I'm not promoting, you know, to go to these people's. Some of them might not be at these addresses, but that's how bright they are. They put, even after a Data Protection Act had came out in 1998 to protect them, their addresses in this book, you know, 24 years ago. And you go and look at their pictures now, you know, and their faces, and their soul, and their spirit. You know, what they've done to this man is absolutely despicable. You know, every day these people are put on notice, you know, and we have to support these people who's actually supporting him for down south. We've been in constant contact with them. You know, this is happening in our jurisdiction. It happened between KIRKCALDY, which is 7 miles from where I stay, and Dunfermline, which is 9 miles. This is wrong. It's wrong. And didn't think it doesn't go on because it goes on. You know, this is wrong. Very, very wrong. You know, we're going into these places and these people are calling themselves lords and ladies. These people are mentally ill. Where do you think they get that from? There's only one lord and one lady if people believe in the religious aspect, you know, or the spiritual. These people, their days are going to be very, very, you know, short because the exposure is coming out and their professional capacity about what they're doing. You know, they believe that are beyond reproach, that they, you know, and there's how stupid they are. You know, there's how stupid they are. You know, and you know, it's very, very wrong to inflict suffering on another human being. Now, we will keep you updated, but we'll put up a new website and we'll back this video up on our new website. You know, and because YouTube could take it down, you know, there's obligation, you know, and it strives with the Freemasonry, you know, circle and Eastern Star. The Eastern Star's a woman. So I'll leave it there, people. Go and watch Kris Brooks' video about it. Go and watch these updates. It's very harrowing, and just be careful because it's quite, you know, traumatic to listen to. You know. So let's hope that we can get something positive moved to expose what they're doing to this poor man. And I'll leave it there. Have a nice day.